don't know why you were getting error, because I have uploaded 600 MB, 500 MB files also.
I will give you on Teams, Rashminder, and you can upload. Okay.
No problem, I'll do that.
Okay. So I think in the last session I have discussed about AWS Active Directory, AWS Manage Active Directory. Just a recall, and we understand the Active Directory has two editions, Standard and Enterprise. Standard will give you 1 GB and 5,000 employees. Enterprise will give you a space of 17 GB, and there is no limit. Microsoft does not count them. Somebody is
Okay.
not speaking. Can go on, please. I'm getting my own voice. Okay, now it's good. Okay, and the cost of one domain controller is 50. So it's $100 per month for standard and $322 for enterprise edition. Okay, and I have placed the link for pricing and all. If you guys can go through with the link, you will get more details on what it says of pricing. If you can see.
And Harpreet, you have
First
copied this
standard,
document also?
Sorry?
You copied this document also?
No, I'm updating it. So I will update once my session is complete, both AWS and Azure. I will upload.
Yeah.
So these are the pricing model. 30 days, a limited free editions, and it gives you what all features and give you the price of if you take a standard edition versus enterprise edition. So if you calculate, the cost will come exactly what is mentioned when you install the Active Directory. Okay. So I just pasted that.
Arpit, the 100 users will be free, right, in Azure for the first time to enable
Sorry.
the 100 users are free, right? We can able to add 100 users, right, without
Yes,
cost.
yes. So that is there for 1 month. After that, once your 1 month period is expired, they are going to charge you $100, and you can do an auto scaling as well, like adding additional domain controller, and the cost I show you when we did the practical, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about this on applications who are accessing, who requires a user ID and password, and you can create in a single VPC. You can create Microsoft Azure Manage Active Directory. The only requirement is that you have to have a VPC and two subnets in the different zones, right? And then the AWS will implement two domain controller in a single VPC, right? And in different AZ for redundancy purpose. And if you have multiple VPC, I show you like you to access the application which is on-prem will not be able to connect with the different VPC. You will not be able to join the machine, which I show you one practical that you can seamlessly join the machine while you are launching your EC2 instance. You can join the machine to the domain with the IAM role with the configuration of JSON and one, which I created, and I show you that practical on the last session I have take for AWS and Azure. So that you cannot do if you don't have directory sharing on the second VPC. It act as a one account in one VPC and separate account in the separate VPC, second VPC. So to do that, you can use directory sharing, like you can create a metadata there for the Active Directory. Once you have that directory sharing there in the second VPC, then you will be able to join the machine to the domain. Okay, and I've shared a couple of use cases like on-prem. You can connect your on-prem AD, or you can use Azure AD Connect tool and use the pass-through authentication, and then you can connect with your Azure AD, and you can use a SaaS solution like Office 365, which is the biggest in the market, very popular one. ServiceNow, Altacian, Dropbox, G Suite. So these are SaaS applications running on your Azure Active Directory, right? So to do that, you can create a connection with your if you are an AWS customer and you are using their custom application, but you want to use for the email, you want to use Office 365 as a SaaS solution. To do that, you can there are different ways. Either you can create an ADFS like Active Directory Federation service and use a SAML authentication for these applications which are sitting on Azure as a solution. Or if you want to connect with their Azure AD, there is an option that you can use Azure AD Connect and pass through authentication with Azure AD. There is another use case we have discussed. If you don't want to go with ADFS solution, that what you will do, then you can directly use AWS SSO. And then it is also possible with AWS SSO with SAML authentication, which is a mechanism of providing you a single sign-on feature, right? Then also you can use the third-party SaaS application solution and connect to your Microsoft Managed Active Directory and use the AWS compatible application. Okay, so we did configure the Active Directory. So we need to understand here what will Amazon, what is AWS will do, what customer can do. AWS put the 2 domain controller in multi-AZ deployment. They will patch, they will monitor, they will recover. They will take the snapshot, 5 snapshot by default. They will take every day, they will take 1 snapshot. And by default, they will take 5 snapshot. We as a customer also have an option. As I log into that AD, we can also in the portal we can also take 5 snapshot. But they recommend if you do any kind of restore, because AD is dynamic, we will change the permission of user, we can add more users, so it's a dynamic for an enterprise customer solution. So it's not recommended to use a snapshot. If you have, that is the last option, you're not finding it fit, AWS recommend that you should call them first, and they will help you out with the different ways they have with inbuilt solution. If they are not able to provide you a solution, then the last option is restore. But with the restore option, you will be losing the data because it will restore the AD to the point when the snapshot has been taken. After that, whatever the changes you have been made would be lost. As I said, the prerequisite for installing Active Directory is creating 2 VPC and 2 subnets. One VPC, within a VPC, you will be having 2 subnets in different AZs. That is a prerequisite of installing Active Directory on AWS managed, okay, which is managed by AWS. And what they will do once they have created, they will create 2 DCs with dynamic DNS, which is they are using Elastic Network Interface. They will create their AWS security group. So as AWS would be managed, they will be having a built-in security groups created by AWS, and then we will be giving an OU where we can create our users, computer, machines. I show you right when I logged into that domain controllers. These are the tools I have shared. Like to manage Active Directory, we have to install RSAT tools and DNS. Like we have AD user and computer, Active Directory domain and trust. These are the features we have, which we want to configure as a member server. We want to install because we cannot log in directly to AWS manage Active Directory, right? So how do we manage? How do we create our users, computers, groups, right? And create a policies which we want domain, site, link OU policies, LSD OU policies, which hardens our machine which are joined to Microsoft AWS Manage Active Directory. So to that, we install these kind of features, which is default available in Windows. We can add those features and then we can manage our Active Directory, which is eventually managed by AWS. I discussed about trust. If you create a trusted model, like you want to use your on-prem environment and you want to import your user to Active Directory, which is there in AWS, you have to create a trust. So the trust is either 2-way, 1-way, or forest trust or direct domain trust. These are the kind of trust available. So if you need to understand one thing, the kind of trust, the way you are creating a trust, you will be able to access the resources. So AWS is a trusting party and on-prem is a trusted party. Then on-prem, in this example, x.abc will be able to access the resources on AWS cloud, but vice versa is not possible. To achieve to achieve both way, we have to do a 2-way trust. I showed you as an example, if you remember, example.com with 3 child HR, sales, dev, and company4, which is another tree in that forest with x.company4.com. and we have a separate forest, which is myad.aws. So how that forest wide trust will come in, and how we will be able to access the resources in HR, sales, dev, or example.com domain, their resources. So this is the way if we create a forest trust example and their child domain has transitive trust. By default, that trust is available. So we will be able to access example and all the child domain resources, but not the another tree in the forest. This is a separate domain in the tree in the forest, right? In the one forest, we have a separate domain. So you will not be able to access. If you want to access this company flow, then there is a different type of trust we have to create, which I showed in the next example. Oops, I think, yeah. So there are different ways we can access or create a trust. We can create a domain trust with example. If we need a resources on example.com and hr.com, only these two, then we can create a direct domain trust with them. So it's called external domain trust. If we need a company for also, which is another tree in the forest, so we can create a direct domain trust there. That is also possible. So there are different ways we can create a trust. Once the trust is created, you will be able to access the resources accordingly. So there was another example as well. Like the better example is this: if you have a forest trust, which is simple, that all your child domains would be accessible. And if you want to create direct domain trust with the company for, you will be able to access the resources, but not able to access the child resource of company4.com with x.company4. This is a child domain for company4. So there you will not be able to access resources here. For that, you have to create another separate domain, external domain trust, if you want to use the child domain as well. Okay.
Repeat. What is this similar setup in Azure? It's trust. I'm sorry if I'm asking.
Azure does not work on Azure Active Directory does not work on the trust. They work on a different concept called custom domains. I will show you once I will be starting it Azure. Okay.
Yeah, okay,
I'm
just for the
just giving
comparison.
yeah, Azure does not work on on-prem Active Directory to your cloud Active Directory trust. They work on a different mechanism.
Okay.
Okay, this is the last thing which I want to share. That with AWS application, how that works. By default, as I show you, the machine will join to the domain and they will authorize, and it will come back to the Azure Manage Active Directory. If you have that domain controller in VPC, as shown as this example, it will go and authorize and come back to the users, and user will be able to access their resources. But there is a different mechanism happen if you're using AWS compatible applications like AWS Workspace, for example. It's a VDI solution. So what they do is they don't come to the Active Directory by authorized by giving password. They provision one user. It's a three-step process which is followed for AWS compatible application. One is it's provision the user, then it will authenticate the user, then it will share the token which is provided with the ADI app, um, API apps directly to the Active Directory. This is how, and then it will go back to the Active Directory will go back to that application trust, and then it will go back to your on-prem Active Directory. If I'm talking a scenario here, if the user is having an user is an on-prem and he will be logging into your AWS account and using AWS compatible application, then how the authentication mechanism works. For the normal process, it will go to your Active Directory AWS and then it will come back with the token and you will be able to access. But in the AWS compatible application, it will provision a user, then it will go for authentication, then it will share the token, and then the user will be able to use their application. Like AWS Workspace, I was giving an example, which is a VDI solution. So what we'll do, we will install the AWS workspace in our laptop, right? And then we get a screen where we will be using our username and password, or maybe if another security is enabled called MFA, multi-factor. So we'll put all the credentials. This doesn't go directly to the AWS. It will use an app. So it will use an API call to the domain controller, and then it will go back to your availability zone, and then it will go, if you have a trust with your on-prem, then that trust user will be authenticated. Okay, this is the user which is there in our on-prem. It will come back and says the authentication mechanism back with that API to the cloud AD, and then you will be able to access this application. This is one of the use case for how the application which are compatible in AWS works. Next is security events. As we know, in an enterprise solution, it is very common that people are looking for a compliance and audit purpose. So how that works for Active Directory? So in Active Directory earlier, there was an audit login. People are login and logouts, all those event captures in Active Directory system logs, right? Now they have integrated that security events that you can create with the CloudWatch. If you already using a CloudWatch, it will give you an option to integrate with CloudWatch. If you don't have the account created for CloudWatch, it will give you an option to create. Then when you're enabling the security events for Active Directory login and logout, for compliance purpose, you can integrate and you can see and you can provide that data. You can save it on any of the data store, and then you can provide that data to the compliance and audit team who requires probably 3 months or 6 months of data, whatever the company policy may follows, right? So it's pretty simple. It's only the click of couple of buttons that it will give you an option. Let me just press F5 on this. So it's pretty simple. You can come to the directory, and under network and security, it gives you option of log forwarding. You just click on that, and then it will give you this screen. Create a new CloudWatch log group. If you have an existing group, it gives you a second option, choose an existing CloudWatch log group. You can use that. If you don't have, you just create a new one and provide the path where you want to store that, the data, and all the events of user login, password reset, all the Active Directory security and log events you can integrate with your CloudWatch, and all the data you can see. It would be within a 5 minutes of delay, all the data would be logged here. So every 5 minutes you can push the data to this CloudWatch, and live after 5 minutes you can see all the data are there. And if somebody is asking for audit and compliance for last 3 months or 6 months, you can pull up the report here and provide them to the audit and compliance team. Directory sharing, I just want to share one example here. So I was explaining earlier to use the AWS compatible application. So if to access the application within your VPC, your Active Directory, your Microsoft AD domain controller should be there. If it's not there, you will not be able to use the AWS compatible application. So, why I'm saying that, in a single VPC it is there, so you will be able to use. In the next slide, see, if you have a VPC 2, now VPC 2 instance and you're using AWS, you have an internal API apps and you're going to the Active Directory domain controller 1, 2, 3, how many domain, depends upon the domain control you have. But in a second VPC, your Active Directory metadata is not there. So that API call will go nowhere, right? Because you don't have an Active Directory in a VPC2, you have in VPC1. Because we select one VPC as a prerequisite, we can install Microsoft Active Directory in a VPC with the multiple AZs, subnet in the multiple AZs, right? That is our prerequisite. So we never created a second VPC. Now we want to achieve this. What we can do is we can do the directory sharing here across the account. So it consider as a second account. Once you do the directory sharing, uh, now the API call for that will go to the metadata which is created for second VPC here, and then it will go to your Active Directory for authentication. And this is where directory sharing would be helpful. In this use case, if you have multiple VPCs and you have already deployed your Active Directory in one, you don't want to bear a cost of another domain controller with the same domain in the second VPC. So what you can do is you can use the option of directory sharing, but this also comes with the cost. Once you enable the directory sharing, it will come with the cost. Apart from your domain controller running on and charge for $100, some additional cost would be there for using this option of directory sharing. Anybody has any question on this?
No, that's fine.
Great. So this is a recap what we have learned about Microsoft Active Directory. I showed you how we create it, what are the options we have, the restore point. If somebody wants, I can log in again and show what are the options we have on directory services, or you can yourself log in and see.
Yeah, let the people log in and explore the options. You go ahead with the Azure AD cloud session.
Okay.
One question. Can you go to the slide number 13? There were some VPC, right? How many VPC required for each region? Is it 2?
Sorry, for installing Active Directory, one VPC is there, na? This one VPC. VPC, you can have 2 domain controllers if you're using Microsoft Active Directory. AWS Active Directory managed by AWS. So let me show you the prerequisite slides, right?
Harpreet,
You
let's
need
say
one VPC and 2 subnets in different AZ. This is a prerequisite.
Okay, 2 separate different exits. Okay.
Yeah. If you don't show 2 subnets, it will not allow you to install Active Directory. It will not allow you to set up your Active Directory in AWS account. Okay.
Okay.
So Harpreet, let's say we have another customer, okay, running its own AD in its own VPC. So obviously the subscription, everything will be different, right? Now, if they wants to communicate, think like it's a merger. Okay.
Okay.
So one set of user will be in AD1 and one set of user will be in AD2. And now we have to share the resources. So in that scenario, we have to integrate these two ADs so that they can be authenticated.
Yeah, so think in this scenario, Gulrez, if you have Microsoft Active Directory in AWS, and here I'm connecting with on-prem AD. Now you have a separate AD, so you have to create a trust. That's why I showed the trusting model, right? So you have if the two ADs there are 2 domain controllers and different. So either you create a forest trust or direct domain trust, depending upon what kind of hierarchy they have. If they have a single forest, then you create a forest trust. If they have the child, by default, if you create a forest trust, transitive trust is there between forest and child, right? Parent and child. So you get all the access depending upon the scenario. So you can do this or you can achieve this. There are different ways of creating a trust, right?
So it's all about forming a tenant, be it be on-prem or be it be cloud-based scenario.
Yeah, if you are using an Active Directory with the different has to be a trust basis. If you don't trust, they will not allow you to share or access the resources in the different domain.
Right.
That is the concept. Yeah.
So that the trust will do the magic.
Yes. So let me come to Azure. So Azure works differently. So Azure, Microsoft put a solution for Active Directory, and they didn't put a concept which I explained you in AWS. They works on a different concept. It's a legacy that Microsoft has their Microsoft Active Directory on-prem. They didn't create Microsoft Azure Active Directory as a replacement of on-prem Active Directory. It's a very, very important concept that people has to understand if they are using Azure Active Directory. They didn't create Azure Active Directory to replace their on-prem Active Directory. And they built a solution where their people are using Microsoft OS with different flavors starting from 2003 to 2019, right? And they have on-prem AD, and they are using probably maybe you want to migrate users. One use case is that you have more than 1,000 users. So and you have now going into the cloud. So you have an account in Azure Active Directory, right? So you when you buy a solution on Azure, by default it gives you whatever the name you put. Like I will show you, otherwise it would be difficult.
So by default we get a AD in Azure.
Exactly, that's what I'm showing you. So how do you integrate? That's what I want to show. Azure Active. So here, as we buy a subscription, you can see our domain is SCL Noram 2 MSI, and by default it says on Microsoft.com. Okay. So they put on Microsoft.com, whatever the username you put, it's your Azure Active Directory. So now you have two things, right? Now you say, I have this. What do I do with this, and what do I do with my on-prem AD? So Microsoft gives you a solution. First, before coming to that solution, I want to show you how your on-prem Active Directory works and what is there in Azure Active Directory, which is they build a solution for, right? So what is there in Azure Active Directory? In Azure Active Directory, uh, it's a tenant. Azure Active Directory, you have, it's a tenant on the cloud solution where you have administrator users. You can connect your devices. Then you have access control, and then you access your enterprise solution. So they build an Azure Active Directory where they have cloud applications, and the cloud applications works on SAML authentication. So Azure Active Directory works on SAML authentication. Our on-prem Active Directory works on Kerberos authentication, NTLM authentication, and our Azure AD works on SAML authentication. That will help us to integrate with cloud applications. And if you create your account in Azure Active Directory and you join your machine to the Azure Active Directory, right? You can join your laptop to Azure Active Directory, and with the help of ASR, you have your roaming profile into the cloud. Now you log into different devices, your profile will be with you, and whatever the applications and different kind of applications or solution you have provided in your Azure Active Directory, you log in with your user, you get all those application up and running. You don't have to do anything. So single sign-on by default you get. You don't have to manage different password. You don't have to create a different users in Azure and on-prem. It's all by built-in. You will get when you get a solution for your
And
Azure
this
Active
is
Directory.
what they use for Office 365 also.
Exactly. Office 365 is one of the popular solution. I'll show you how they connect the device here with your laptop, how it's being connected, and how you can create a profile in Azure AD, and how you can register your machine and join to the Azure AD device. Okay. I'll show you in the coming slides. Plus, just bear with me for 5 minutes, and I will show you how practically that works. I just want to show you one thing, that comparing, everybody is now know about on-prem and Azure, so they compare both the Active Directory. So Microsoft Azure Active Directory is not a replacement of your on-prem Active Directory. It's an additional thing Microsoft put with Azure Active Directory to come up with the cloud solution. Now people have one thing in mind: what should I do with my on-prem AD? First thing you can do is you can have your custom domains, and then you don't have to use this sclnorm.amsi.com into your Azure Active Directory. I can change this with my on-prem Active Directory. Okay, I can change.
Harpreet, if I can stop this, when you say tenant ID, right? So
Yeah.
tenant ID is some kind of umbrella under which we create our all ADs, or let's say we have two tenants. So one tenant ID is belongs to one subscription or a customer.
Yeah. Yes. I'm showing you that. I'm showing you. Where is my screenshot? Okay. So here is an example. So I said,
Okay, thank you.
बड़ा हुआ दिख रहा है?
Yeah, that's okay. F5 कर रहा है, F5 करना है इसमें.
F5 करता हूँ को.
Yeah.
F5.
Yep.
ओहो, वो वापस चला जाता.
So thank you. Yeah.
ठीक है. Now you can see.
Yeah.
So as Azure AD is a tenant, you can say Azure AD is a tenant, and with tenant, these options you have, you can access the enterprise, which is apps which are there in the cloud.
Okay.
Like your Office 365 solution and other solutions. You have an option. They have created a self-service password reset. Like if in SCL, even our password expire, it doesn't work. We get an SSR, single sign-on. We get a URL. We go to that and we log in, and we say forget password, and it text us, and he send an email and code, and we reset the password. That option they are also provided Azure Active Directory. That option was not there in your on-prem Active Directory. So one feature is added here. right?
Okay.
Self-service password reset, SSPR. Okay. Second is that you can join your laptops. You can join your device on Azure AD. Then you get a profile, whatever the account you have in Azure, you can log in with that account in your laptop, and whatever you saved, it will be saved in the cloud, not on your desktop, because your profile is there in cloud. So everything you use by logging into your username, I'd say kkr.h@sclnoram.onmicrosoft.com. I will use my email ID and password, and I'll log in by first I have to join this to Azure AD. That machine that device or that laptop, I will join to that Azure AD. And once that laptop is joined to Azure AD, I will log in with my Azure email account. And once I log into that, whatever the profile, whatever the application or integration of Office 365, I will get it in my desktop. And once I log off, all the settings would be saved onto the cloud.
Okay, Arpit, once again. So if you enable this feature, right? So this our ID should be, synced with Azure AD, right? With the AD Connect.
No. See, I'm creating an account in Azure. Forget about on-prem. I'm not using AD Connect concept here. Let me show you. Let me clear your doubt. You have
Because
users
usually
here.
what I see, right? Usually we'll migrate the users to cloud, so
That
that
is
then we'll enable SSPR, right? So that's what my understanding. So we can able
no.
to even our HCL Outlook.
I will
Similar
show
setup.
you. I will show you SSPR how it works. Okay, that is a password reset. You're talking about. You're talking about the users. For example, I have Nitin here, right? Nitin wants to reset the password, and I set a password reset for. I did the policy. You can see I managed to for all SCL Noram, and I will show you that as well. Okay, but let me come back to what I'm showing here. See, if this user password, see, as I'm a global admin, so let me see. Let me show you. This will not work. See, I'm not able to reset my on-prem password. Is there an option? But if I show you, where is Madhavan? Madhavan Babu. Let me unselect. Let me deselect. So let me click on reset.
Yeah, it
See,
should be, but because my users are in cloud, right?
exactly. That's what I told you, right? So what I will use, I'm not using on-prem. I'm showing you the concept of cloud here. So this user Nitin is there in the cloud, right? Nitin.b is in the cloud. Okay. So I will use Windows XP. I'm talking here about client. So client machine, I will join to Azure Active Directory, which will come under the device. Okay.
Okay,
Which will
device.
come,
Okay.
yeah, which will come under the device once it will join to my Azure Active Directory. Okay.
So, for example,
Th-
printer we have right now, HL permits, right? The printer also join in Azure, right? So
right.
wherever we just give a one print, or it is going to the,
So
IP
whatever,
address.
so no, yeah, that you are right, but I have to publish all the applications to that device. So his profile. So when he log in with Azure AD, what are the applications I have registered or integrated with that profile? He will get all the options. Okay, I'm just showing you here the integration how that happens. Forget about cloud application, cloud native application. Office 365 is one of the solutions. So once he's log in, he will. If I have integrated Office 365 solution, he will be logged in with his Azure profile on the machine he has joined to Azure AD. I mean, he will get the work mail as an Office 365. He will be able to use that application. That is one clean, simple example. Everybody understand, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I was let me come back and answer Gulray's question. So here, the one thing is we need to understand as Azure Active Directory is a tenant. So with one tenant, I have multiple subscription. So let me do F5 so that he can see. Okay. So one tenant can use multiple subscription, but one subscription, vice versa. One subscription would be in one tenant. It cannot belong to different tenant. Is that concept clear? See, Azure Active Directory is a tenant. I said on as you buy a cloud account, we get one domain sclnoram.onmicrosoft.com. That is default. They created their Azure Active Directory. So
you mean
we
to
have
say
one.
with that one tenant, we can have multiple subscription associated with it.
Yes. With one tenant, we can have multiple subscription, and that association has to be done with your Active Directory. That subscription, for example, I'm deploying Azure subscription for production environment. Then I deployed it for development environment. So I have two subscriptions that can connect to my Azure Active Directory as a tenant. So one tenant can have multiple subscription.
Sorry, yes, Pete, I just got a call, so I missed that. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
So here I explained that to use the cloud native application, which is enterprise application, Office 365 and other solutions, one tenant can have multiple subscription, which you can see in this diagram.
Correct.
So an association has to be done for that subscription to your tenant, which is Active Directory. And you can have multiple directories there in Azure Active Directory. Let me show you.
So मुद्दा ये है कि अगर हम कुछ ऑलरेडी हमारे पास कुछ है वहाँ पे, अगर इज अ पार्ट ऑफ अ वन टेनेंट and I am coming up with my different subscriptions, so I have to attach with the
Yes.
same tenant.
Yes, you have. If you want to use, see, I have created that. If I click on switch tenant,
Okay,
I get two options. I got two
if at
options.
all
Which is
I
my,
want to use a
yeah,
separate AD, then I can have my own tenant.
yes. So now my question is, I don't want to use on Microsoft.com. Now everybody has a question that, okay, we will be having our on-prem Active Directory. I don't want to. I want to use my on-prem domain name here. I don't want to use on Microsoft. I don't want to create users on Microsoft.com and then I start creating users on my Active Directory, which is my on-prem. I want to replace this on Microsoft.com and I want to use my on-prem Active Directory, which is this. For me, is this, right? Is harrycorp1234.in. So I want to use this. I don't want to use scnnorm2.onmicrosoft.com. Okay. So I can do that. I can achieve that. So you can see I have registered with this company and all, right? So I have to associate with the second tenant I have with this, or I can have an option in Azure Active Directory, custom domains, right? So here, if I have a custom, I see I have registered that. If I click on that, it has to be registered with third party. I can say godaddy.com or AWS. You have an option. If I click on that, it give me an option. How do I authenticate? So it has to be with online, so that when the request go to my domain harrycloud123.in, there would be some way that it can connect. So custom domain works, it has to be registered. So you heard about GoDaddy. GoDaddy is where you can register your domain, and anywhere it has to be unique in the cloud, right? So once you register there and you change your settings with the on vendor like GoDaddy, and you put these settings there in the GoDaddy. So once your request would be going to Harry Cloud, you will be having your request completely worked out. So you will be having your users, you will be having everything. You will manage, but you have to register it. So I don't have, because it's a paid thing with GoDaddy. So what I've done
Okay,
is,
so this solution, what you're saying, without we doing AD Connect and all, so similar way we can have our on-prem users to cloud, right?
yes,
With the custom
yes,
domain and join. Is it?
yeah,
My
that is
understanding is
one of
correct?
the options. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
One solution you already have, right, in Azure Active Directory. That what you can do is, you want to populate your user with on-prem. I showed you in previous practical, right? I have my on-prem Active Directory, and with AD Connect and all, I populate all the users which you're showing as Azure Active Directory, and my on-prem users are showing as Windows Server AD. Whatever you said, I showed you, right? One practical.
yeah, I understand.
Uh,
Yeah, you done with
if
the AD
I
Connect, right? So these users
Yeah.
are on-prem users.
Now, yeah, one more practical I was showing. When I connect, there is an option called Directory Synchronization. If I click here,
The custom
synchronization
domain
service.
is a good one, right? So I think we have some costs associated on it, the custom domain for adding it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, just give me 1 minute. Okay.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
first understand this. What is this directory synchronization? First, I show you in the previous session. If you connect to your AD, this is one way, and you have an option to do all the synchronization here. Once you are done, you don't have to run your AD Connect tool again and again. Okay. You have an option of synchronization. Okay, directory synchronization. So you can see all in the operations tab. I see you can see all the options. The delta synchronization of your active directory happens here. So if I click on connectors, you can see my on-prem AD is Harry Cop. If I double click on that, okay, AD Connect tool, come on, go away. Okay, so if I click on the directory partition, if I click on container, this is the account name which is there with Azure. Microsoft Azure have created this account. I don't have a username and password. What I have is my enterprise admin. So I will put that. What was the password? Okay, I hope this works. Lot of passwords. Okay, I got it. So here you can see whatever the changes I will do. Let me do one change. New user.
हरप्रीत भाई अभी हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? सॉरी यार मैं थोड़ा ऑन ऑफ कर रहा हूँ.
अभी हम कर रहे अभी बताता हूँ 1 मिनट रुक जाओ. अभी
Sorry,
एक
sorry.
यूजर क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ.
Hmm.
I'm creating a user on on-prem, and I will show you how you can re-replicate. Okay,
Okay.
with directory sync option.
Okay, you're doing with Azure.
Yeah, with Azure. So I'll show you how it opened once again. Right. So earlier we use AD Connect tool. Now we don't
Yeah.
have to. Now we don't have to use every time the AD Connect tool. Forget about
Oh.
AD. And AD Connect is the first time. Now with
Okay.
AD Connect tool, once we install on your on-prem, you have an option of synchronization service. So if you
Okay.
click on synchronization service, this you will use, and you will show you it replicate with your Azure Active Directory. So you come
Wait,
to the
with AD
connectors.
Connect or do you have to install the service?
It's already installed. Once you install Azure AD Connect tool,
Yep.
once you install, this service comes automatically. I just clicked on start button,
Yeah, got
and I
it.
can see that's AD Connect. Just below that, synchronization service is there, right? So it's default. It's there. I didn't install anything separately. So with this, yes, sir.
Yeah. So can this be scheduled to run automatically, or it needs to be done manually?
Normally I've seen the scenario where you can run manually, but definitely there would be a way that you can schedule this. By default, if you see, let me show you. By default, in every 30 minutes, it syncs whatever you have on your on-prem to your Azure AD as
By
Active Directory by default. 30 minutes. As you
Okay,
know,
without by default means without having the AD Connect, right? It will use this direct synchronization. The AD Connect is a one-time setup. Okay, once the users are migrated, the remaining users can able to sync automatically.
Automatically, correct.
Yes. Automatically. Now I'm showing you that if you want, you created few users and you want to replicate, and this is the way you can see, click on operations, you see if this everything is successfully working. And if you want to initiate anything immediately, you have an option. You can click on your on-prem domain, you can come to the directory partition, you can click on containers. You have to put your on-prem enterprise admin username and password, and it will give you. So I've created an on-prem, right? So I can just click on OK. That's it. Done. We are done. That's it. So now it will automatically replicate my user here. Okay. So give some time for, let's say, 5 minutes. Whatever the users I have created, it will replicate here. So by default, there is a concept that two domain controllers within a site will replicate in 30 minutes. And if I have a domain controller, one, for example, in Delhi and one in Bangalore, so intra-site, it will replicate in 90 minutes. Okay, so that is the default setting that two domain controllers will talk to each other. But if you have a password change, that's a immediate change. That password change is an urgent replication, so it triggers the moment you change the password. And as domain controllers are multi-master application and always works on pull topology. So moment you change the password, it will trigger the replication to, let's say, every domain controller cannot be PDC. You have 5 domain controllers in one domain. So if you are connecting to your local domain controller, that is not a PDC. So you still be able to change your password, and that domain controller has a responsibility that is an urgent change. So it will trigger the replication to the PDC, and then PDC has a responsibility that it should replicate to other domain controllers. This is how replication works. Within site 30 minutes, across size 90 minutes, but password change is an urgent application that immediately replicate to the PDC, and PDC has uh, the responsibility to share with everybody. Okay, so it's a multi-master application. So within a site, you don't have to go to the PDC. It will replicate to other domain controller, and that domain controller will also replicate to PDC, and PDC will communicate to everybody else. So I was talking about password reset, right? So
But
what
password
I have
reset,
done,
one, Arpit, if you
yes,
go with, I mean, okay, you continue. I will ask maybe password reset, right?
okay.
How quickly it is synchronizing with our on-prem? If you reset the password in cloud, the same pass
Mhm.
immediately working on cloud. I mean on-prem, right? If I can able to log in with the domain, right? So you were saying that if you go with I mean domain controller synchronization, it will take 5 minutes to replicate the changes on the cloud, right?
No, you're mixing two things. I said
Okay.
password change is a immediate replication, right? And
Mm.
now here we use
You created a user create.
uh,
You done a user creation. You done one ID for synchronization, right? It will be done automatically once
I've
ID has been
created
created.
test 20, right? So let me see if it's there. Let me refresh.
I may be mixing the two things just to clarify. So
Yeah, that's fine. That's why I'm saying. Let me see. Let me click somewhere else. I don't see test. Earlier it came early, but now. So it depends upon your connection as well, I guess, right? I don't see test user test 20 here. So let's wait for some time while I'll show you another that there is a policy you can enable by going into the password reset. I selected for our SCL norm. So whatever the users are there, it will reflect that once they log into their Azure account, they will be able to reset their own password. Otherwise, what they have to do is they have to approach Gulrez or Shirini to reset their password. So let me click on users. Let me set. Okay. Do we have Nitin on the call?
Yes,
Nitin?
I'm. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Nitin, I just implement one policy, right? So is it okay if you can share your screen and log in, and let's see how the password reset works?
Okay, sure.
So let me stop sharing my screen.
so one simple question. Okay, Arpit.
Yes, sir.
You are
Yeah.
doing the synchronization from on-prem to cloud. For that, do you have any connection created uh, between your on-prem and cloud, or it is working outside the connection? The connection sense what I'm saying, whether you have, I mean, site to, point to site, or you have a site to site.
Okay. So Harpreet, you want me to log in or click on forget my password?
You can use forget my password also. So this
Okay.
is where it will give you option to update your password.
Yeah, I got this option.
Yeah, this is the user ID. They corrected.
Can you hear me, Arpit?
Yes, Madhavan, I hear you.
Yeah.
After
So
this, I will come to your question. Is that okay?
yeah. Okay.
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 So I got
Yes.
these options.
Yeah.
Select two, because I think we have selected two methods. So you can put one email and one text on the phone and reset your password. So it will send a text to you on your mobile. Okay.
Okay.
I hope you registered SCL email ID, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you will get one mail on that and put both the verification code.
I got text message. Yeah, I'm getting.
Okay. Put your new password, some complicated one. So, Madhan, you were saying last session that how we reset the password, right? So this is the way. If you set the policy for password reset for Azure AD, so Nitin has
Yeah.
set
This is
that
a
with your new
password
password.
right back. Yeah. Right back. Right. So. Okay.
No,
Oh.
no, Madhavan. It's not a write back. It's a self reset password option for Azure AD user, which
Okay.
Nitin is using with his ID. Now he forget his password. He's not able to log in. So he's self resetting his password without coming to as an administrator. Like
Mm.
he's not going to Gulrez, he's not going to Shirini. They have the administrative rights where they have an option to reset the password. As I showed you, I have an option to reset your password. So I give you an option, I reset your password and I give you one email and then you can log in. Where here
Yeah.
we have set a reset password, self reset. So Nitin is able to go to the URL which is used to log into Microsoft Azure portal, and he
Mhm.
says forget password. So he get two options to verify himself. So he send one text on his mobile and one email. So he put
Okay.
in both
Okay.
the codes and then he put
This is
in,
only
and
for cloud
now
users. Okay.
yes,
Okay. I
and
got it
he is
now.
not and then there he's not asking for the old password. They're simply asking for the put in the new password. So
Mm,
you
yeah.
don't
Yeah.
have
Yeah. I
to
understood.
just okay.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I thought it's a Windows 8 user, so that's what
No, no, no,
I
no, no,
mix
no.
and match here. Right
So
back. Okay.
for that, we'll come to one slide where it will show you have to set it up. You have to have Active Directory P1 or P2 kind of licenses. With your
Mm.
free trial of this, with the standard free Azure Active Directory, you won't be able to enable those options where the
It,
write back will be work, or you will be able to reset the password on Azure
no. It
with
will
your
work
on.
for initially for 100 users free. Then it will be remaining
Yeah,
if anyone.
they say that, but
No, it's
at
enabled. I tried it. Okay, it's working. So 100 users are free. We can go
yeah,
with the free account. 100 users, 1 month it will work.
yes, for 1 month it will work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. As per their documentation, they have mentioned for first 100 user it should work, and if you have more
No,
than
you can
100
also try
user,
it, not for documentation. You can also try, I mean, in this one of the user, right? You already migrate synchronized one user, right? You can also enable the passwords
yeah,
right
I'll show
back.
you. I'll show. Nitin, you can stop the screen and let me try that option. You can stop the sharing, please. Okay, let me share my screen. So let me go back. You can see my screen now.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I have. I think I removed Cloud 10. Okay,
Yeah, I
so
think the premium account, the real license, I think it need to enable initially.
you can see. Okay, I'm going to click on reset password. See, unfortunately, the current licensing does not allow you to reset this
Yes,
user.
yes, that's correct.
That
Now we need
that
to enable the premium account free tier for 100 users. Then only you can able to enable the feature.
yes, that's what I say. It's a licensing thing. Okay, with this subscription we have, it's not
No,
possible.
yes, we can. No, it is possible. It is possible. You can try for it.
Okay, where I need to enable that option?
There you need to go for. There is one option. Okay, enable premium account for the 100 users. One of the tab, but I don't know. I forgot actually now. If you go here, not users. Maybe I'll check and come back to you. Okay, but there is an option. With
Okay.
the account, it's possible.
Yeah, what I was saying is by default it's not there. You can enable for 100 user. I'm
Yes,
not
yes.
sure.
We need to enable it. We need to
Yeah,
enable it for
yeah.
100 users. Yes.
Got it. I was talking if you say by default it's not there. So if you have that P1 or P2 license, that is
Yeah,
there by default.
that's what a premium license, a premium ID account. There is an option to enable. If you go here, I'm not too sure how we can check the features. There is an option to enable the user. Can go to inside the user. Can click the user. Double inside user. Yeah, yeah. Here there is an option, right? Come down. Yeah, here. I don't know. There's one option.
Administrative authentication method, minor accounts, use authentication page to authenticate contact info for the user.
Can go up. Can go up a little bit up. License. Come to license here. The right side. License. Below application. In this left side, I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
right
Left
pane.
side, left side.
Left side. Yeah.
Left
Yeah.
pane.
Yeah.
Okay, left pane. Okay, I
Sorry.
clicked on that.
Uh,
So here we need to assign it, right? No
yeah. Assign it.
licenses for
I think. Yeah. So it will give you. Yeah. Here it will so select that.
temporary. Does it give you the license option here? Where is Microsoft Teams and all? This is a temporary licenses. These are temporary license, right? So
One option. I
okay,
see it.
no issues. I will work on it. We'll work on it one to one,
Okay.
and
I
then
will.
once you know, we can show it, right?
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. Yeah.
So the next thing I was showing is that you can register your machine to Azure and you can log into the profile, right? So if I go to the virtual machines, this is one of the machine I have created. Oh, virtual machine. Okay, this is the machine I've created, right? So I've created this machine. This is your client machine, okay? RDP. Download. Save. Right. Says 179.86.229 / Harry password. Welcome. Yes, you're welcome at the 6. I think 6 or 7.
Meanwhile, you log in. So everyone, please take care of this AWS account. I've already sent an email.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll do that definitely. We'll reach.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've already done this. I'm just showing you. So for example, if you have your laptop, how you will join to your Azure AD. So we will come to this. We'll come to settings options. We'll come to accounts and we'll come to access, work or school. Okay, see, I've already joined this machine with Nitin's ID. So you click on connect and then once you click on connect, here, as we already joined, here we get an option, join this machine to the domain. Once we click on that, we will put the username which we want to log in. So we use, I worked with Nitin on this, so I use nitin.b SCL Norham. So it's connected to it, okay, Nitin's profile. So now once
So
is
Harpreet,
joined,
if we
yeah.
talk about normal SCL AD, so are we not using a cloud-based AD in our normal scenario?
Sorry, I didn't get your question. Come again.
Okay, so we are using our laptop, right? And we use
Yes,
our
yes,
SCL IST domain controller, correct?
yes,
So
yes,
if we do not go to Office, then nothing will be updated. Okay. So
yes.
if I'm using my machine at my place, so isn't it by any chance not communicating with the AD which is available over the cloud, or is still in our company the AD is still in on-prem?
So
So
yes,
your question, Gulrez, if I understand correctly, you're saying how do we use the Office laptop to connect to Azure AD?
Yes,
SQL domain.
you can replicate in this way.
So we are not we do not have a direct Azure AD, right? We have it indirectly through Office 365 subscription. If that is correct. Does that answer?
All right. So SaaS services we have, and so our AD must be sync with the AD which is in Azure also. Correct.
Correct. It is because of the Office 365 subscription. It is
Yep.
not like we're using the Azure AD separately through
Oh,
Microsoft.
so we are only using the services because of Office 365. Otherwise, we are not using any AD services which is hosted on the cloud.
Correct. So there is a difference, right? One is the hosted factor. One is something that you're creating. Okay. What Arpit is telling you is about how to create it, how to connect it to your on-prem, which is not the case with ours. Ours is direct subscription of Office 365. And through Office 365, it is mandatory for your Azure AD to connect your HCL domain here, right? Could be HCL technology or HCL whatever geo.
That's fine.
Yeah, for
Understand?
example, Gulraj, this is what we are going to implement in SNI. That the scenario right now he is explaining.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So SNI, you are going to not create Azure AD, you are going to create directly Office 365 subscription. Is that right, Srikanth?
No, Office is not Office 365 subscription. We are using Office 365 subscription, but we are going to deploy
one more
AD in cloud also. There is looks like one more data center on the Azure cloud. There is Active Directory server running on same like on-prem.
And
No,
that
see,
it will be synced with the on-prem.
On-prem, yeah.
yeah. So HCL doesn't own any apps in Azure, right? So that is the reason our user accounts are not synced to the Azure AD, okay, for accessing any applications, right? We are direct users or consumers of Office 365, our relationship. Okay, if I have, if HCL has probably I don't want to give the example of myHCL.com because that's all SAP. Anything else? What do I use? No other app, right? But if there is an app that is deployed in Azure, right, and I have to use my HCL account to connect to that, then definitely I have to create whatever Arpit is talking about, have the federation done so that my user account can log into the Azure subscription to that application.
Okay, so which is not a SaaS service.
It is not, yeah, it is not exactly as you can use the SaaS service only for authentication, but if you want to use a subscription where you have VMs running with apps to use that, then this is how it is, what Arpit is talking about. So think from an application perspective of what is required, right? If you are using Microsoft Office 365, you don't have to worry about all this, right? You just have to link to Azure AD, then start using your Office 365 subscription directly. Right? I mean,
yeah,
unfortunately,
that
our
is the
industry,
simplest way of doing any SaaS application. You have use your AD Connect and you can replicate to Azure AD. and then you will use their SaaS application. It's all integrated. So it will give you a seamless, like, single sign-on, where in SCL they have created your Office 365 on-prem, and then you've seen that as I joined, I've been informed that your email account would be moved to Office, like on cloud. So once for the first 15 days I was using on-prem, and then after 15 days it will not work for 1 or 2 hours. Those at that point of time they were replicating to cloud Office 365 solution, SaaS solution, which they have got. So that's the replication happen at the back end. And they don't change my email ID. My email ID is same. It's there and it's there in the cloud, right? So that's where they have replicated from on-prem to cloud, which Giri explained you, right? They have a subscription where if as a new cloud user, you can use your AD Connect, and once you have AD Connect, you can use their application SaaS solution like Office 365 or any other solution. You don't have to do anything. It's all integrated. So you will be using your same credentials and log into Office 365 or XYZ application that you don't have to migrate. It's there. You will be using with their on-prem data. SCL has migrated to cloud because SCL was using the old solution, right? And then the cloud come into the picture, so they have to replicate to the cloud.
And we are able to use the same email address because we have created the same domain name on Azure. Is that correct?
Yeah.
This is on Microsoft, as he showed you, right? This is on Microsoft, not HCL.com. Is that correct, Harpreet? The account which you're using, it has a domain of on Microsoft.com, right? Not at HCL.com.
Yes, I have. I showed you. I told you, right? This is if you buy any new cloud solution, it will, as we buy here, it's SCL Nora AMSI on Microsoft. But
It's
I
different.
don't. If
But domain
I
name is
don't.
different.
If I don't want to use it, I have an alternate solution. So it depends what kind of solution you're looking for. You don't want to use on Microsoft, you can change the tenant. And what you have to do is, here is an option. You can add your custom domain. So I have scl.com, right? I can add scl.com here.
Exactly.
And then
Suppose
I have
SCL
to,
has taken this, they have given this scl.com as domain ID.
I have tried to register here SCL my Harry Cloud 123.in. So only thing I have to do is I have to verify this. To do that, I have to register this setting where I have registered my domain either in GoDaddy or any other vendor which provides the domain registration. GoDaddy is very popular one, right? You can register any unique domain name there. So nobody has taken. So once my domain is registered there, this is where my on Microsoft.com I will be replacing with my on-prem AD. I want to use like as it is my on-prem. I can do that. I can change my on Microsoft.com account to this AD. So both will exist, but all my users and I have a single experience of my on-prem AD. Even even Microsoft recommend that you're using AD Connect or you're using a solution called site point to site or site to site VPN, you should have your additional domain controller with your on-prem. You can build your additional domain controller here in the cloud. And once the domain controller replicate, all your cloud solution authentication, they don't have to go on-prem for authentication because you have your Active Directory domain controller in the cloud as well as an ADC additional domain controller. They can do the replication on the cloud itself. So if the VPN connectivity or any connectivity you have an issue with on-prem, you have your Active Directory sitting in the cloud as well, right? Which is replicating with each other. So they can authenticate within a cloud. They don't have to come back on-prem. So it depends what kind of solution customer can afford, and most for resilience purpose, they don't want to rely on their VPN connectivity and all. They can have their additional domain controller sitting in the cloud. And once the replication is happen, either with AD Connect or their domain controllers, all the users you have in your cloud with your on-prem, right? But as I explained one thing earlier, Microsoft does not build a solution with Azure AD, which is a replacement of your on-prem AD. It's not a replacement of your on-prem AD. Okay, because it works on SAML authentication and your on-prem works on Kerberos and NTML authentication. So if you're a legacy application and you're an on-prem user, you'll still use. But if you want to log in with the cloud-aware application, you can join this machine as I was showing. Okay, let me come to the device. So as I create one XP machine, I'll show you. I've joined this XP machine in Azure AD. It's Azure AD joined. So now when Nitin log in with his email ID, which is an Azure account, his profile, he can log in with Azure AD. And with ESRM, like Staterom, he will getting a profile, whatever the settings, whatever the activity he's do while logging onto that machine. Once he log off, all the settings would be on the cloud itself. It's not on the desktop, on the laptop, which is using with his logging by his email file onto the cloud. So all the data, all his profile settings, everything would be there in the cloud. So it's kind of, you can say, roaming profile, where you worked with any of the different devices. You use your email ID and log in, and once you log off, all the data would be on the cloud. Are you getting me? Is it too much or overflow? I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, yes.
So coming back to the data, which is a boring part, let's do this. So as I said, it's a different, right? So our on-prem Active Directory work on these kind of different layers: Active Directory domain and services, Active Directory, sorry, Azure Data Lake services, Active Directory federation services, where you use single sign-on for the integrated of using of your Gmail, Tinder, LinkedIn, different kind of accounts. So you will use this service. It's a Windows feature, right? Active Directory certification services, where you has an option that you can create your own certificate authority server, and you want to give it for your radius server or the user on their devices for more security reason. Active Directory domain right management services. So I put in one liner what exactly it does. Active Directory domain services allow admin to manage information related to user login. So as even I showed you on premise, right? What are options we have with our Active Directory user snap-ins, right? Here you have three things, right? You can create, uh, you have these options, right? You can create your computers, contact groups, all these things. So these things would be managed with if you install your Active Directory domain services. Okay, this is what it means. This allow domain admin to manage information related to user login. So you can do password reset. You can put their account got disabled. These are the normal calls which any enterprise solution would have, and they have a service desk. The call will go to the service desk, and they have the RSET tool enabled, where the user have given a limited right to reset the password or their account login information. They don't give the entire while they log into their Active Directory, they cannot do more than that. So limited permissions given to the service desk with that kind of solution. Azure Active Directory allow you to store data of any type and size. ADFS allow you to have single sign-on access on the system and application within your organization network. So I'm talking here about on-prem. So on-prem, within your network, you can do a single sign-on, right? ADCS allows administrators to customize service in order to issue and manage public certificates. As you go with GoDaddy, you get a certificate, and then you download your certificate, you import it, and you're using. In And with this feature, you can have your own certificate authority server, and then you can assign certificate within. So you're not putting a cost to GoDaddy. You have your own server, which act as a certificate authority server who generates certificate. Then you can import onto you can integrate with your Active Directory as well, and assign. By default, it gives a certificate to all the domain controller for security reason, and it put in their machine as a trusted root service. ADSRM is a security tool for data protection. Now let's compare all these the layers I talked about in on-prem. Azure AD has two layers only. They worked on WAD, Windows Azure Active Directory, and Windows Azure Access Control Services. So if somebody asks you how many layers you have in Azure, so these are the two layers you have. What they do, this combines all the problem resolving around identification management, like user login issues, log off issues, or their password reset, account logout, all this issue would be integrated in this. Rest all would be integrated in this, take care of federating all the services like ADFS, their account right management, all the service would be in this. But again, I'm saying again and again, it's not a replacement of your on-prem AD. Okay. So audience, what kind of audience we have in Azure? We have an IT administrator who will take care of the user login, log off, the relevant permissions provided to the user, and then resolve their authentication issues. Application developers get easy and hassle-free access to the relevant application to develop, and online users like to use their CRM applications. Your Office 365 solution is one of the example. Then there is a concept. Okay, so it's just an example I put it. If the user will use three kind of cloud application, directory service, cloud, or Azure VM, they have to create three different passwords, which is difficult for admin before Azure Active Directory. After that, you will see it will be one user with three application with one user, and kind of a single sign-on you are using. So you're not creating a different account for using different cloud native applications. You're getting a facility to use one user ID and password, which works for all the application you're using in cloud. Okay. Technologies. These are the four things as I explained earlier. It's Active Directory is a tenant on if you are creating one of defining a solution. So first thing you get is it's a tenant, and then you have to associate. You have to do an association with the different kind of subscription you have. So one tenant can have multiple subscription. Only thing we need to understand, and with this, if you have a different kind of subscription, you can associate with your Active Directory tenant. Okay. Domains like DNS, you are managing your complete DNS. If you register your domain like custom domain to GoDaddy, you're managing that complete DNS. You can log into GoDaddy with your domain credentials, and you can manage your DNS with adding or removing host IP, CNA records. You're creating your website aliases. So everything you manage, they called as a DNS. Users, okay, for users, we can log back into the Active Directory. So here, very simple. You have new user and you have new guest user. So with new user, it will give you an option to put in the name, and it will be at on Microsoft.com. So whatever the users I have created, right? It will be, so it will come and authenticate with this Azure AD. You can put in all the information, and you can create, and user will be created. Okay. And you can also invite a user. You can put in the name and email address, and I can put my Gmail address, and I will be having one invite in my Gmail. I will accept that invite, and then I can log in with my Azure Active Directory. That option is there. So now the question comes here is, what is the difference between a new user and a new guest user? So I can create a guest user, I can invite a guest user. The difference here is, like, as you're creating a guest user, so it can be his email ID. Like I have created a user, I am using my Gmail account. So my email ID would be my login ID. If I have a Gmail ID, xyz.g@gmail, I can give an invite to that. That would be my user. So I'm not managing the username and that password on my Azure AD, but I can invite that user onto my Azure ID, and I can log in with that ID. I have done that practical,
Okay,
but I have
but it is a Google ID, right? It's a Gmail account. So how it has
yeah,
been managing with Azure? If we go with invite user, is there any? If I change the
sorry.
password, it will be. I mean, it will be reflected on there also. If I'm outside the AD account.
I have deleted I think I've created. See, it's not about your Gmail ID. I've used in my Hotmail account. Okay.
Hmm.
So as I invited, it could be one of the email ID, which it's an authenticated email ID. Either it's a Hotmail or Gmail or Yahoo. I've deleted that. I've tested that. So I can restore back. So yeah, this is the one I was. So you can restore back. So it gives you an option. If you delete the user, it doesn't gone permanently, permanently, it will go into the deleted user. If you want to delete, I have selected that option. I am in the deleted user. I can select that. Now I have an option to completely vanish this user. I can click on delete permanently. It gives me an option. All the data will be reversible. Now from here onwards, that user is not recoverable. So if this is my cloud user, I can do that. I've restored my Hotmail account, right? So let me see. Okay, so this is a guest user I have invited, right? So
but the source name says Microsoft account. Okay.
yeah, it's a
So
Microsoft account.
Hotmail is a
Right?
Microsoft account, no? So can
Yeah,
you
That's
add
what
a Gmail?
okay,
that's what it's allowed.
okay,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
Gmail
yeah,
will
yeah.
not be possible. I think.
Yes. Madhavan is right. So let me see if I can reset the password. No, I will not.
I think same topic also one day Giri
Yeah,
also raised, right? In Google Cloud, I think the same
let
thing has
me
happened.
let me log in. I don't know if I remember what password I put in, but I cannot reset. It's also .com. I don't remember. Oh, by default it's coming. Let's see if this works. Yeah, I'm able to log in. See, I'm able to log in. Yeah, it's also a Microsoft account. So I think with the
Yeah, it
Microsoft
is
account,
possible.
it
Microsoft
is
Azure account
possible
is possible. Yeah.
to do that. Yeah, with the practical I want to show is that you can delete the user, it will be there, and you can restore it. You have an option. It's not permanently gone. Until unless we have to remove it, we have to click on that user and then delete permanently. Okay, this is the user I've created for testing purpose. That's why I'm deleting. I'm not deleting other ones.
Okay.
Just a disclaimer, right? Okay, what else I have to show? Some like one part is left. Okay, I've created just the last part. I think Madhav and I have used more than 45 minutes, right?
No issue. I think we are already. I mean, I think 12 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Friday I'll be covering my session, Gulrish. I think today we are almost done, right? If you have time, I can start.
No, man, it's already 1:29. I mean, after 1 minute we have to drop. Another
I understand.
couple of call back to
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
So
I'm wrapping up.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, go ahead.
planning on I mean ASR on Friday. I think ASR not in my name. I think Arpit said it was in Nitin name, right? So can I present it, Nitin? ASR?
Friday, I already planned. I already booked the slot last week for Friday session. So which session you are saying? ASR?
Yeah.
Azure site recovery. Azure site recovery. He's saying.
Yeah, that is assigned to Anirban. So
Okay, no problem. I can pick it up, right? Gulrish, I can pick it up. I can deliver, right?
Yeah, and Friday maybe
Because
I'll
I'm already
get that call.
Yeah,
already planned.
topic you
Yeah.
can pick and do. No problem.
Okay,
Okay.
and one more
Already
thing. Friday I'll take an additional half an hour. Okay, so we have to talk more for the coming month. Okay, this is where we have to conclude remaining portion of Azure and how we're going to achieve it. Maybe we have to go back to our old days where we were taking 3 sessions in a week. So the idea is we have to conclude this so that we move on with other aspect. Okay, so we'll talk more on Friday.
3 session. Let's see, because we have a project meeting also, right? So scheduled.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of maybe we'll push it back to 1 hour, so that should be able to do it. We'll talk. We'll not put anything which practically not feasible. Okay, don't worry.
Yeah, you can continue. Yeah. Arpit, sorry,
Okay,
I interrupted.
yeah. So it's due to time constraint. I'm wrapping up. Just the last thing is your B2B and B2C. So in B2B, if you have different domain, like an example I have shown, you have Contoso and you have Fabricum, and Fabricum user want to use a content in Contoso. So that will be you can use that in B2B solution where you'll be having a content to use in Contoso. Okay. That is called B2B solution for the customer, managing their domain, and they will have a trust and they can access their resources. For B2C, they can provide their registrant and you can customize their login by using federation services. Any kind of account you have, your social ID with Facebook, Yahoo, Gmail, LinkedIn. So with customize, if you buy Azure Active Directory for B2C customer, you get a lot many options and you can customize your solution, right? You can securely, they provide you secure authentication, your customer using their preferred identity providers. Like you can use your Facebook, Gmail, LinkedIn, any account, and they can customize their solution for you. They can capture their login, their preference, their conversation data for the customer. They can capture everything. They can do analytics. They can provide you the CRM for marketing. So there are some built-in and very vast solution which Microsoft has created. If you buy a customized B2C kind of license with
Harpreet, I'm
Microsoft.
really sorry, I have to jump now. So people also start.
Yeah, I'm done. Gulrez,
Yeah,
I'm
so
done.
you
So
can
last
stop.
slide is that.
If you're done, you can stop the recording. And
Okay.
if you need to couple of more minutes, we can cover it up next week. Okay.